exaggerate it, you'll never get a stiff pose. You'll never get like just someone standing there, rather than it will feel like it's moving if you do it that way. So, and that's how you give I love giving models more curve than they have, or just exaggerating it. As a makeup artist, I have a different approach with features. So I really have to exaggerate her eyes. And the best way is always to draw sort of where she's looking.
I saw a question down front.
How much, if you draw the same person multiple times, do you draw a different change as you get to know that person, as you get to know them? Do you find the personality somehow comes through the drawing?
Oh, yeah, I find that definitely. You tend to, when you're drawing their features, depending on if they've got like a really big smile, you'll exaggerate that more, and their personality will definitely come out in the way that you draw them. I'm not very good at talking and drawing at the same time. Sorry.
Question in the back? And anybody on the panel can answer too, because it's general.
I have a question for Amanda, actually. I was wondering how she chooses poses that are so dynamic and striking, like being a model and like set the exposure of that scene.
I just try to make something that looks interesting. And I mean, the nice thing about this is that I'm only holding this pose for 5 minutes, so it can be kind of uncomfortable. I have been in situations where you're doing a painting class and you have to pick one pose that you're going to be holding for 6 hours, and with breaks obviously, and maybe over the course of a couple of days. But that can be like a kind of hell on earth. Like you're actually like you picked a pose that you thought was really comfortable, and then after about 15 minutes you realize that it's, your leg is going to fall asleep or your arm's going to fall off. And then you feel really guilty because you're going to fuck up the artist's painting. And so you kind of start to kind of cheat and, try and like move around slightly while like being a model like this is actually, it's something that you actually learn how to do. And I finally learned after like hours and hours and hours of modeling for art classes to, to try and keep things interesting while keeping things comfortable.
How did that knowledge and that process inform what eventually became the Who Killed Amanda+Palmer project, where you were using pose very dramatically?
Well, that book is weird because posing like a dead person was a lot more challenging than I thought it would be. Because you wind up just looking asleep most of the time. And the thing when you actually look at, crime shots and crazy dead pictures, it's so unnatural. But often when you put your own body in an unnatural pose, it looks contrived. So that was actually really challenging for the book. And I think if I were to go back and do it again, I would do it a lot differently. And I would set things up more instead of, I think in a lot of the pictures I just ended up looking asleep instead of dead. But I mean, it's sort of, those things are the same thing, and dead is strange.
We're in 5 minutes on that pose.
Okay.
I think you might do a sequel then? Kill Amanda+Palmer again?
Who killed Amanda+Palmer again?
Who resurrected Amanda+Palmer?
Should we do something from the back? From the front? Do you guys care?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, 5 minutes, right?
The X-Men make it look so easy, don't they?
And to continue answering that question, it's a lot like doing photo shoots. It's mostly about feeling like you're not looking like an idiot, and not being afraid to do something kind of silly and exaggerated. Because I've watched other people do photo shoots and they're so it's so easy to feel like you're, you know, over dramatizing. But actually, usually to make a photo shoot look good, you have to over dramatize and you have to play everything a little bit big and not be afraid of doing that. And that just, I think, just comes from doing it again and again and again and again.
Did it change, like, as when you started to see yourself when you draw? You found it was like, oh, maybe this didn't work as well as I thought?
It really depends on how good the artist is. Seriously, like one of the best parts of being a life drawing model was wandering around and looking at yourself rendered. I mean, photo shoots are different. You're yourself. I mean, the photographer is capturing a slice of reality, and maybe they're putting their own, you know, their own artistry into it, but they're not changing your body. And watching artists change your body is really fascinating, especially when they make you look horrible. And, you know, and you're wandering around going like, oh, that's great. Oh, wow, wow. Oh, I hope no one ever sees that and knows it's me. But, you know, it's also, I've seen people draw me and I look nothing like myself in a way that makes me uncomfortable because they make me look too attractive. And that's sort of, you know, there's a whole other issue here because my fans draw me all the time, and they don't draw me from life, they draw me from photos or from their minds or whatever. And it's really interesting seeing what people do to you and to your face and to your body, depending on where they're coming from, artistically or politically or whatever it is. It's never frightening. Sometimes it's, you know, I don't know, where's Beth? She left again. She's my assistant, but she helps me file all the art. And we have had really interesting discussions about, you know, putting art back into the world and why we like what we like. And it's never frightening. I think anyone making art at all in any way is always awesome. So even if I'm looking at something and I think it's crazy or frightening or atrocious, or, you know, I'm still glad it's out there.
I see a question in the back, the partial students have too. Yep.
Hi, yeah. As far as, you know, the various mediums that you've been exposed to and participated in, first, what is your favorite medium to be expressed in? And additionally, what do you feel like is your favorite aspect of your body that is expressed?
Clarify that last part. I don't think I get exactly what you mean.
Is it a particular part of your body, or like, you know, like is it your shoulders, or your back and your shoulders, or your face, or?
I don't really have a favorite. I like seeing what people come up with.
Their interpretations?
Yeah. And
what's your favorite medium to be expressed in?
I don't really have an answer for that either. I mean, I think one thing I really love is seeing people, especially since, you know, my music is really personal, and so a lot of people kind of fuse songs and ideas and then put my character and my figure sort of within a kind of an visual interpretation of a song or a lyric. And I love that because it makes me feel like I'm getting fused, you know, with the art, which is something I can't really do. It has to come from the outside. It has to come from someone who's responding. And that's usually my favorite art to see, is when someone is taking different elements of what I do and maybe not even involving my likeness and sticking it on anything.
That takes us to 5 minutes. So we'll do one more with Camilla and then switch into David.
Okay. I get a strong. I'd love to draw your face.
Okay.
Yeah.
This one will be just for you then.
Awesome.
I'm going to take these off because I feel like they're kind of distracting.
This way I can show you guys how I guess interpret like a real person into anime.
Give me a word or anything.
A word?
Or you just want something really loud.
Yeah. No. Let's. Yeah. Give me something loud. That'd I would love to draw your eyes, but your teeth are fantastic. Okay.
Camilla?
Yeah.
What's your training?
Oh, I have a certificate. I did animation, 3D animation, a long time ago, and that was the first thing I did. I also did fine arts, and I have a degree in illustration and design. And you know, it's funny because I love the Japanese aesthetic and their culture and the way that they interpret. And so I had to teach myself because as I was going through college, none of my teachers were really supportive of my style. And they all said that comic books weren't art. Whatever. Jerks. So you know, I'm really obstinate, and I decided that I was going to teach myself if they weren't going to. They tried to teach me how to be a fine artist, and I really wasn't interested in that. So I have to say that I'm self-taught with the anime and manga. But you know, going through the animation, I learned how to storyboard, which was fantastic, and it helped a lot in how I tell a story. Well, I could always draw okay, and then yeah, when I did animation, it was interesting because I really found that doing the 3D took me too far away from drawing, and I love to draw, so I decided not to be a 3D animator, and if anything, I would suggest doing 2D animation, because then you really learn how to draw repetitively, and that's always a good thing when you have to draw the same character over and over again.
Why the blue big pen?
Why the big pen?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I don't like pencils, they smudge, and I don't like, I like the softness of a big pen, because it kind of looks like it is pencil. Sorry. And then I can do hard lines, I can do soft lines. And it's just, it's really neat, but you can't really make a lot of mistakes, so I have a lot of weight up on my hand.
When I was in high school, that's how we drew with this big pen.
Yeah.
You do all kinds of feathering.
Maybe that's real, you know? Yeah, the feathering is fantastic. All my comics are drawn with picks.
Are you still too young for that?
I had to wear a tensor after I finished my issue of Billy Boom or of Sky Pirates because you know, I pulled a lot of all-nighters with the big.
I've got another minute on this pose. Is there a quick art question? Yep.
You mentioned keeping a character looking the same. And for me, that's the hardest thing, because each one is different. Like keeping a likeness seems almost impossible. How do you achieve that?
Within the same character? Well, you know what you do is you choose a feature for them, and then you define it, and you exaggerate that as well, so that because I know it is hard that when you draw a character to keep them looking the same. And also the other thing that I do is I have a character, like a head sheet, so I draw the character in different expressions and different poses, and have them actually have their own